Hello there. For those who the first time on my channel, my name is Zach. I'm 21 years old Russian who left Russia because of the war against Ukraine. And today we're gonna discuss a really interesting topic. Many people during a bunch of live streams which I had on my channel asked me, why do you think Ukrainians are different from Russians? And one of the points I really pinpoint all of the time answering this question is comparison between Russians and Ukrainians who have ever been abroad of their own motherlands. So recently, my favorite channel, who is making posts in Russia, in actually the city of Kostroma, which is relatively close to Moscow, but that's not Moscow. So that's not like 14, 20 kind of videos because he usually films in Moscow. So this is going to be a little bit different experience. So my favorite outside poll channel, he made a video asking, have they ever been abroad? And if yes, when was the last time? And I hope this video will kind of open your eyes on the situation and you will better understand why Russians are different from Ukrainians. This is a channel of the guy. It's called in Russian отдельная цивилизация, which translates as separate civilization. You know, Putin used to say like Russian world, that's a different civilization.
Россия — это не просто страна, это действительно отдельная цивилизация.
It's not European civilization, it's not Asian. We are the third one, so we are different. This channel is kind of trolling this concept of the other civilization. You know, in every start of the video, they have this kind of intro showing Kostroma better, so people won't forget what Russia is like. And you know, watching this, I really, you know, it kind of makes me to remember my hometown, Komsomolsk-on-Amur. In the far east of Russia, there was never a war going on, but still it looks worse than some of the cities of Ukraine right now.
В каких странах вы побывали за жизнь?
Ни в каких.
Когда вы последний раз были за границей?
Я вообще не был за
Never,
границей.
Ни
never.
разу?
Ни разу. Ой, какой вопрос интересный. Это...
Попроще спроси. Сейчас бываешь там.
Когда последний раз вы были за границей?
Я вообще не был.
Never been abroad. So out of 4 people already in the video, we got, I believe, 4 people who've never been abroad.
Я никогда не была за границей.
Почему?
Вот денег нет.
No money. Well, I guess that's one of the main reasons why Russians, 70% of Russians, never been abroad. Because they are just broke. Broke as hell. They're not gonna afford just to travel outside.
И нечего там делать, скажу я.
Ну, правильно.
Я тоже там не был.
The guy is trolling Babushka, and she's like, yes, right. He's saying, yeah, we have nothing to do there. He's like, yeah, right. And she's like, yeah, sure.
Да, в армии служил, в Германии. Все.
А почему больше не ездили никуда?
А потому что финансов нет.
Деньги есть.
So the guy, he went to the army during his draft in the Soviet military, and they were sending a lot of people to Germany, to Eastern Germany, when it was under occupation of the Soviet Union before the collapse of the Berlin Wall. And basically, one of the people who went also to serve to that part of Germany was, guess who? Vladimir Putin. And you know, they are trying to show in mass media that Vladimir Putin is such a unique agent of KGB that he went to Germany to be a spy. But actually, you know, half of the, not half, but many men, they been there just because it was under occupation of the Soviet Union, and many people were sent there as conscripts.
Так что нам сейчас не по карману. Да и нечего там делать. Лучше России нет.
Nothing is better than Russia, of course.
Я разобью сейчас тебе все на свете. Вот так вот.
Я же подошел, спросил у вас.
Okay, the guy's being aggressive, you know. Maybe he's one of those gopniks who doesn't want to be filmed.
Очень давно,
Сколько?
лет 5 назад.
А где были?
Я не помню точно. Давненько было.
how can you not to remember where have you been? I remember every single episode since I'm like 4 years old. When you are like 40, is it really hard to remember what happened 5 years ago? That's quite weird, you know. Maybe he has been to the US, for example. He's like, oh, I don't want mass media to recognize that I've been there.
Вообще ни разу не были. Ну, давно-давно в Болгарии.
А чего там
Oh,
делали?
Bulgaria, interesting.
Отдыхали в 86 году.
И уже там в те времена уже так все плохо было.
Нет, хорошо было очень.
Well, so the lady been to Bulgaria just for during the Soviet times, just for vacation, and she really loved it. Well, unexpectedly.
2 года тому назад
Где были?
в Узбекистане.
Uzbekistan. Wow.
В какой стране еще хотели бы побывать?
В стране? Да в любой.
В Иран хотите?
В Иран даже не мечтал, но с удовольствием бы съездил.
Нет возможности.
Времени нет.
И в финансовом плане.
На данный момент какую
Just
страну хотели
no
бы
money.
посетить, там, не знаю, отдохнуть?
Я об этом не задумывался даже, понимаете? Из-за неимения финансов, какое посещение какой тут страны, можно думать.
Работать
No money.
надо было.
Да? Ну, я всю жизнь работал. И неплохо вроде бы как бы. Ну, увы, у нас государство такое.
That's quite true, you know. He's saying like the guy, he's kind of trolling like, oh, you should have been working for the whole life so you would be able to travel when you were elder. But he's like the man, he's answering, I mean, I was working for my whole life. What do you want from me? And he's saying, well, that's just the way the things are at our government. And that's quite true, you know. My mom, my many of my relatives, they have been working for their whole life, quite, you know, qualified job, and they were still not able to save any money to travel outside of Russia. Well, my relatives, for the most part, they've been abroad, but they are not like the exceptions, more exceptions than the average people. So that's just the way things work in Russia. You just don't have money to travel.
А когда последний раз вы
Oh,
были
the
за
gopnik is
границей?
back.
В 90-м году
А в какой стране?
в Германии, в Польше
Ну, что вы там делали-то?
хулиганили.
So you've been to Germany after the collapse of the Berlin Wall. That's quite unique. Usually, those people who were born in the Soviet Union and who've been to Germany, they've been to Germany before the collapse of the Berlin Wall because you didn't need a visa to get there, and many of the governmental agencies, they were sending you there.
Убери, я тебе говорю.
Ой, давно это было, где-то в 80-х, когда 982 по-моему, год.
982.
Да, давно.
А где это было-то?
Это было в Германии.
Yeah,
Germany,
Germany,
да.
1980s.
Несколько лет назад
А где были?
в Абхазии. Не такая уж
No, please, girl, please, no. She said she's been to Abkhazia, you know? In Georgia, that's a ban. You are not allowed to come to Georgia, girl. That's just crazy because Abkhazia is one of the regions which is occupied by Russia since 2008 when Russia invaded Georgia in a smaller scale than the Russia did to Ukraine. It's, you know, that's one of the reasons why Georgians are so supportive in favor of Ukraine, because the same thing happened to Georgia in 2008. And Abkhazia, they call themselves independent, but you know, the Russian military is based in Abkhazia. So they are not independent. They are just under Russia, as like Donetsk People's Republic or Luhansk People's Republic. And she said she's been there. It's like going to Crimea. You know, you're going to occupied territories.
А нет, подождите, я была в Беларуси, но тоже недалеко за границей.
So okay, she's been to Belarus and Abkhazia. And Abkhazia is not even a separate country.
Я бы хотела во Франции побывать.
Oh, you know why this guy actually laughed? Like, you know, there is a meme with this guy. So that's actually Dmitry Peskov, who is a secretary of Putin. His daughter and his son, they are living in France. He is always defending Russia and saying like the West is rotting, the West is dying. But at the same time, members of his family, they live in France for already many years. And they are pretty happy there. They're not going back to Russia. You know, this girl, she's saying I would like to travel to France someday. But I mean, I think she understands it's gonna be so hard for her because you know she's just not member. Her parents are not members of the government. They're not getting this corrupt money, so it's gonna be too expensive for her.
В Тунисе был. А в какой стране еще хотели бы побывать?
Я много где не был, везде хотел бы быть. А что?
Да я вообще не ходила, не ездила.
А это кто у вас?
Собака.
Я только служил в Германии, все. Больше не было.
Опять Германия.
So again, the guy just served in the military in Germany.
Турция.
А какую страну хотели бы еще посетить?
I'm actually surprised that this guy, the first one to answer Turkey, because Turkey is such a popular destination among Russian tourists to go to for a holiday, for a vacation to the sea. That is one of the best destinations for Russian tourists. It used to be, and it is right now.
Для отдыха.
Ну, много желаний есть.
Сейчас в Иран можно.
В Иран. Но пока не пока средства.
I like how the guy is like trolling the people. Like, you know, we are so cut off of the whole international world. We cannot go anywhere else except Iran, I guess China, but China is closed because of coronavirus. Like, I don't know, North Korea maybe. What else? So he's trolling in a bit.
Когда последний раз вы были за границей?
В 80-м году.
А где?
В Германии.
Как там, насколько в Германии это все хреново?
В то время все хорошо было. Лучше, чем в Союзе было. В то время.
Oh wow. So he just said that he was serving at the military in Germany, and he said that it was better in Germany, like in the Soviet Germany, those times, than it was in the Soviet Union. Like, would you say it mainland Soviet Union? Maybe, I don't know. So that's quite fascinating, because I was thinking, you know, Germany under the rule of the Soviets was kind of in trouble.
6 лет назад
А где были?
в Испании
Чего вы там делали-то?
отдыхали.
Хуя. Напишите, как, насколько там вообще, ну, все плохо. Сколько,
Почему плохо?
насколько там прогнило, я не знаю.
Куда прогнило? Туда вниз.
Насколько там деградировала страна.
Ничего подобного, все хорошо.
Don't get him wrong. He is just trying to troll the people so they will answer for like in a patriotic way, like, you know, like they used to reply for state medias on the streets. So this lady actually, she been to Spain and she loved it, and she said, and he's asking like, why did you love it? Isn't the West is rotten? How people are surviving there?
Я вообще ни разу не была. Вообще ни разу не была.
Never been
Я
abroad.
тоже.
И дальше, это в
Что
смысле?
там делать-то?
Так вот именно, что там делать.
Смотреть, как там все сыпется, что ли?
Я не собираюсь туда никогда ехать.
Да.
Я была
I'm never going to go there.
в Германии.
Ну, какими-то людьми там, какими-то не такими вам показались, что они какие-то...
Показались нормальные, добрые люди.
Good
Хорошо
people.
отдохнули.
Может, какие-то трансформеры там ходили.
Transformers. You may think like, what does he mean by Transformers? By saying Transformers, he's kind of trolling the way Putin once said that he doesn't understand the concept of like gay people. He doesn't know what does it mean, like transgender or like lesbians, or, and he said literally Transformers. I'm not freaking joking. He said I don't understand those transformers.
6 или 5 полов напридумывали. Я вот трансформеры, я не понимаю даже, что это такое, понимаете?
So that's kind of a meme, you know, that Putin is all of the like non-binary people or people who are not like straight. Putin is calling them transformers. Optimus Prime.
Какие трансформеры не ходили?
Я успела еще застать советское время. Да, то есть я работала на заводе, и поэтому ездила в командировки. Вот, а в Германии у меня живет дочь, и я была там на свадьбе.
Как там они, совсем уже? Загнили там они?
Это было в 17-м году, у них было все замечательно. Да.
Сейчас-то уже все, наверное.
Не знаю, сейчас они получили квартиру, вернее, купили квартиру.
So okay, that lady, she has been to Germany just because her child immigrated to Germany and she got there for just a marriage ceremony. And she was amazed. She said, yeah, it was really good. And they bought themselves an apartment, they live in a good life. So I guess that's the only person from the whole video who, not the only one, and the other lady from Spain, who ever been to Europe since the collapse of the USSR.
В Германии был.
Снова немецкий след.
Ну да.
Шайзе. Как вы думаете, могу я вот такой материал выложить на всеобщее обозрение?
Почему я должна их хаять-то? Вы что хотите, чтобы я их обхаяла?
Так я уж не знаю, что говорить-то можно.
Да хочу, нормальная страна, мне понравилось. Мы были в Египте, мне хуже понравилось в Египте.
Yeah, Egypt is also a pretty popular destination among Russian tourists. But she said she loved Spain more. So she's more European kind of person. That's actually quite nice, you know, that some people are still having this possibility to travel and to see the rest of the world, how things are better, and what you can change in your own country to make it better.
Дальше что?
Так ничего. Чё, как там на огороде-то дела?
У меня все хорошо.
Четко.
Четко.
Помидоры выросли.
Заготовки сделала, полный подвал. Так что не это самое, как ее картошку привезут из деревни. Голодать не будем.
Do you want to sanction those people? Do you really think this is gonna be possible? Like, she's just saying, okay, I got myself a bunch of cans of like vegetables, like, you know, salty vegetables for the winter, and once I will have my potatoes from the village, I'm gonna be good. How are you gonna sanction those people? Do you think they're gonna go overthrow the Putin because of the sanctions, because they cannot go to some Baltic countries? No, they don't care. They're literally saying we're gonna survive anyhow. And people in Russia, they used to survive. They used to make this cannon food just to survive. Like my great grandma, she's still making it. And I remember when I was living with my mom and my mom was not making a good amount of money, the only source of food we had that time, it was basically canned food, like canned vegetables and potatoes, no meat included. And people survive by this diet. They're not gonna overthrow Putin because of it.
Слышал?
Да.
Байден.
Вот ему, блядь, этому Байдену.
So, as you've seen, most of the people either never been abroad or they've been to Germany during the Soviet occupation, like as members, as conscripts, or the only one lady she've been to Germany as part of the work trip. But for the most part, people, they've never been abroad. A couple of the people, they've been to, like that Gopnik guy, he has been to Poland. That lady, she has been to Spain and Egypt. And another lady, she's been to Germany. And that's it for the most part. People never been to the US, to UK, to like France, to Canada. They've never been to developed countries to see how things are working, how the society are working. They've never been parts of the exchange programs, like myself, for example. I was able to go to the United States to see how the society works there and what we can change in Russia with that knowledge, with this difference that I saw. So I think that's really important to understand that many of the Russians, they are just the way they are because they've never been abroad, And most of the people, they never been abroad because they were living in the Soviet Union, they were living under the Iron Curtain, they were not able to leave the country just to travel, only to the satellite Soviet Republic. So let's say by statistics, how many Russians ever been abroad? Well, there are different polls and different results of those polls. For example, there is a number of 69% of Russians who've never been abroad. The other by Interfax is saying is 78% of Russians have never been abroad in the past 5 years. So in the past 5 years, only 22% of Russians, including me, I guess, have ever been abroad. Only 28% of Russians have international passport, and it just means only 28% are just able to travel abroad. And at least, you gotta apply for this passport if you just wanna leave Russia, even to a post-Soviet country. And that's pretty interesting to see the difference between Moscow and the rest of Russia, because as I used to say, Moscow is not Russia. Moscow as one of the most developed cities in the world, but Russia is different. They used to develop Moscow so much, they used to, pump it up with money, with oil money, to develop it, to let the people in Moscow live the best life among all the Russia. But all the rest of Russia is just being a huge colony of Moscow. And the numbers are saying that 56% of Moscowites, like people, citizens of Moscow, they have international passports. So 56%. It's actually 2 times higher than the rest of Russia. So citizens of Moscow, they could and they can to afford themselves traveling to Europe, to the US, to other post-Soviet countries, because firstly, they are making more money, and secondly, Moscow is just more developed. So why are Ukrainians are different from Russians? Because 48% of Ukrainians have ever been abroad of Ukraine. So 48% in Ukraine comparing to 28 in Russia. That's quite a huge difference, almost 2 times. What's more interesting, the more west you go on the map of Ukraine, more people have ever been abroad at that territory. If you look at the Lviv territory, at least like 50 or 60% of the people ever been abroad, at least to Poland, because it's like a neighbor country. And the more east you go, like to the Donetsk, Luhansk, the less people ever been abroad from those territories. The numbers are almost like in Russia. And of course, Kiev, which is located kind of in the heart, in the middle of Ukraine, is kind of like an exception, because capitals are used to be more educated and more developed. So people want to travel more. So that's it for today. I hope you kind of understood why Ukrainians are like part of the Ukrainian mentality is different from that part of the mentality of Russians, and especially international relationships and just attitude toward foreigners. So that was Zach the Russian. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to support me, consider liking this video and just write a comment for promoting this video on YouTube. Also have a Patreon page if you want to support me. I hope this war will end soon, and there are already some signs of this war coming to an end, to a glorious victory of Ukraine. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this war will end soon. Stop Putin, stop the war.